congratulations, you've made it to the end, and now you're going to do a final. So I'm on the final page on the website right here, right? You've done all the assignments, you've done them projects, you had a brutal time with those, homeworks or whatever, you kind of did how you did them. You've watched the lectures or at least read my notes, however you want to do it, up to you. And now you're on to the final. So looking like class votes decided to do the choose your own adventure type final instead of just a multiple choice exam. So I have that one ready. I still have this option open in case a slew of votes come in and we want to do multiple choice, but looking pretty heavily that you all want to choose your own adventure. So how do you choose your own adventure? How do you do a choose your own adventure final? Okay, so first you go to the final page. Little descriptions on both sides. Again, I have both options ready to go just in case, but it looks like we'll do this one. So it's really not that bad. The only thing I really want to walk over is you go to the final exam, go to another page, and then you just kind of get to how we've done all your homework. Should look pretty familiar at this point. Just Google Forms through and through. They're really easy for file organization, which is rough in this remote teaching. So I have 60 questions, or 59 really, questions for you to pick from. You're on the line. You have to choose 8 of these problems to do, and then 2 of them are extra credit. So you can do 2 if you want for more extra credit, or don't. I always like extra credit in classes, so I always offer extra credit. It's so fun to do. Really show that you go above and beyond, that kind of stuff. But again, you just want to get through. You just got to pick 8 of these bad boys and do them correctly. Little trip up, I'm a dummy, and there are 5 questions in this list that are false statements. Okay, so I had to record and make so much content. My brain was tired, so and they slipped up. So instead of me correcting them, I just want you to find those questions and tell me what I did wrong and prove me wrong in many different ways. So there are 3 types of questions in this final for you to do and select from, right? And they're pretty evident on which ones they are. I just kind of want to go over which ones. There's a little hiccup on why I can't label them. Okay, so the most points are actually for the false statements. If you find one of those false statement questions and you go, that's wrong, I'm going to prove him wrong, okay, then that's great. And then if you decide to do that, there are 5 points you can earn for one of those problems. Okay, you get 1 point for just identifying that it was a false statement. So just in your submission, go like, aha, got you, false statement. You get another point if you describe why I'm wrong mathematically. So that means going to the equations and showing that, like, you can't be right, Sam. See the equation A? That would do. So that's 1 point. You get another point if you draw a figure, a graph, or some sort of picture kind of showing me why I'm wrong as well. People learn many different ways, so if you come across one that said something wrong, it's always important that you can go multiple different avenues to kind of teach them why they're wrong. So this is your chance to do that. So again, trying to draw something to show visually why I have to be wrong by saying that. 4 points gets even harder when we're going down the line. 4 points is you need to show me that if it were true, there'd be a contradiction, right, in physics, or like physical laws that we accept. So you're kind of seeing, right, for each type of problem, it's kind of harder and harder to get full points on them, and that's kind of the motif of all these questions. I'll tell you right now, really the trick of this is just the conservation equations of physics, right? Those are physical laws. Every physical law is really a conservation statement. So, and they're always hidden in there, and they're kind of fun to dig through and peek around and find that contradiction. So that's 4 out of 5 points. And then 5 out of 5 points, the hardest one, right? And that's the idea that just something that we don't observe in nature. So you kind of just think and ponder, like really kind of think like, if that were to be true, wouldn't we see this? But we don't really see this happen in nature. And that's kind of the hardest thing. So that's how you get all 5 points for a false statement problem. The other kind of problem in here are like math problems, I call them. I think I'm going to change it to like analysis, right? And they're kind of like right? These are problems like your homework, right? Where or somewhat around there, either like a simple calculation, or they involve some derivation of an expression. Okay, so how to get the points for that? You get 1 point for just having the correct expression. These are pretty it's your first time, but for me, these aren't the roughest things, so I can go like, oh, that's the right expression. So that's 1 point. 1 point for if you have like intermediate words describing your processes or steps in this math. And that's sort of, like you did for maybe your calculators when you wrote in Jupyter Notebook, etc. You write that markdown to kind of describe your reasoning. It's a very important step. So just kind of also have that. You don't have to do a Jupyter Notebook for the final. Totally can. But it's, again, that's never give that up. Always sort of describing your algebraic steps. I don't need to know how to add two numbers, right? Don't be too specific, but hit the highlights of what you think are the hardest algebraic steps, maybe in your derivations. And then 3 out of 4 points is a lot of times in these things, like whether you're like balancing two terms or something like that, or you write you divide out by something. What you'll kind of see is that like the implications of that they have some implications to like physical law. So kind of ratios, you can see something's inversely proportional, something's like proportional to the square or something. That's get training that like math means physical things. That's how you get 3 out of 4 points. And then for 4 out of 4 points for a math problem, you have kind of implications of the solution expressions. So that's training and expressing that you know how to do some analysis, but also once you have your expressions, you can think around in there and kind of see, oh, that's interesting. It kind of seems like this happens when this number gets big. Always kind of limit numbers, either go big or small. So that's kind of 4 out of 4 points. Okay, and then 3 points. You could just do explains for all the finals, right? You've done enough work all term with the homeworks and projects, so I'm actually okay if you just do 8 explain problems, right? That's your choice to do. Choose your own adventure really means that like this is up to you to decide how much you love fluids, how much you want to test yourself and test your knowledge on it. But explains are worth 3 points, and what I want from that is an explanation under 600 characters. Think about 3 tweets long to really get across. So more and more people are like teaching and sharing science through like tweet threads. So kind of know how to do that because more people more and more immediately will want to have an explanation in like a tweet. So let's try to practice that, right? I know this sounds like with the times, but I think it's just a good skill to do, right? So for these explain things, you can't just go on for a page explaining things like that. You got to distill it down to like 3 tweets. Another one for the explanation is just kind of put down an equation that explains it. They're always out there, and it's not that hard to find kind of an explanation for these types of things. So that's how you get 2 out of 3 points. If you don't have to do anything with the equation, you can kind of just like reference it and go, see how this thing is big or this thing is small? That's what I'm kind of getting at. And then a diagram. Again, we got to train ourselves to draw pictures every time, draw an algebra step every time, write an equation. It's very important because people learn so many different ways nowadays. So it's very important that you as engineers out there can either go to the equation, go to the diagram, right, or speak things. Okay, there are things in explain where it's like I want you to explain multiple things. So that would just mean, for each topic, just try to keep it to 3 tweets long or 600 characters. That's really what I mean by that. Okay, as always, file naming protocol, because there's so many of you, and I like to keep it organized for myself. This one's a bit different because I save your finals and keep them for reference and grade them and send them back. So actually, they're the documents I will keep for a long time to use. So for that one, I want the class, the ME322, I want Spring 21, then I want last name, then I want file, and then PDF, doc, Jupyter, so however you wanted to do the submission as well. So again, example, if I submitted this final, I would go ME322, SP21, Molar, final, PDF. Boom, boom, boom. Okay? Keep the dashes in there as well. That's so I can grep and awk, whatever. Just please keep those dashes in there because spaces can be problematic if you're in a command line. For me, they are. I'm not. Okay, and then I need to stop saying okay. I say okay like every 5. Submit a cover sheet with your exam. This is important because since you're picking 8 problems, what you need to do for me then is like sort of the first page on there is to just do a columns and row type cover sheet. So the header would be problem title, problem number, the type of problem it is, and then the points. Leave that point thing blank for me to fill out, and I'll send it back to you. Problem title. There are problem titles for each problem. Problem number. This is just kind of two ways for me to cross-reference because they're kind of jumbled up in a bunch of different ways. But that's why I ask for the problem title, which is in here. So see how this one says nonlinearity origins. So give me that problem title, and then give me the problem number, give me the type, etc. So this is right, one row for problems. So if you want to do 8 and 2, you should have 10. You should have 11 rows, the header, and then each problem. Fill in these things. I imagine you all know how to make a table in Word to do this correctly, so I don't want to go in and do that. You certainly should be able to do that. Again, one last thing. Notice here there's a star on stream function. So for any of the problems that you want to be graded as extra credit, put a little star on there. Okay? And that's your final. So just kind of peruse through these things. Right? There's a lot of them. Many, many to pick from. All testing your ability of homework. Right? I made a lot. Right? So have fun. You can look at this now. Look at it later. You can just maybe pick them off throughout the term even, right? I'm okay with that. It's posted now. Go for it if you want. Choose your own adventure. Pick the things that interest you and show me how good at it you are. Signing off from this thing. I can never